Hey everybody, we're continuing on in Philippians 2 tonight, going on to verses 5 through 8, looking at a gorgeous picture of Christ and his exalted glory and his lowly submission to humanity. So let's take a look at the text.
Philippians chapter 2, beginning in verse 5. Have this mind among yourselves, which is yours in Christ Jesus, who, though he was in the form of God, did not count equality with God a thing to be grasped, but made himself nothing, taking the form of a servant, being born in the likeness of men, and being found in human form, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross.
So I think it's really important that we look at the context in which Paul is sharing this with the Philippian church. He's not trying to combat some type of heresy here, but instead he's teaching them about how to have relationships with one another. That's the beginning of the verse. It says, have this mind among yourselves, which is yours in Christ Jesus. Because he's just been talking about, humility and considering others as better than ourselves. I think really quickly we can get bogged down in some theological components, but the biggest point here is he's saying, here's your example. Here is what you should be striving for in your relationships. It's Christ. Have the same mind in you, which is yours in Christ Jesus. And then we get this beautiful picture of the God of the universe, of Jesus robed in glory, taking on the form of a servant, wrapping himself in humanity. Not that yes, I know it does say he emptied himself. And a lot of people get hung up on that and they say, oh, well, there it is. He's not God. He got rid of all of his godness and became a man. No, he clothed himself in humanity. He's fully God, fully man. We see all of his qualities of divinity displayed along with all of his qualities of humanity in his earthly ministry. Jesus is the God-man who became flesh for us, became obedient unto death, even death on a cross. That's fantastic. We'll look tomorrow at the rest of this passage, but just know that it doesn't end there. It doesn't end at him being obedient to death. God goes further. God is faithful to his servant and his son. But know that it piggybacks on what we just talked about last night about having harmonious relationships. How do you have those harmonious relationships? We talked about dying to self and humbling ourselves. Well, what did Jesus do? He humbled himself and he died. It's the same thing. It's the hardest thing we'll ever do, but it is the most important and most valuable thing we could ever do, is take on that same attitude and mind that Christ had, that set aside his importance, set aside his very much deserved position and rank, and became a servant, bowed down before his disciples and washed their dirty, nasty feet. Even the feet of the one who would betray him. I hope you're studying along. As you can tell, this touches me. It's a powerful passage, one of my favorites in all the Bible. Follow me on Twitter at Engaging Culture. You can also subscribe here on YouTube for more daily updates. And you can follow along on the website at engagingculture.wordpress.com. Thank you. You have a great night.